Hi there, folks. Welcome to another episode of Michael in the Backyard. Today, we got to do something about this. Yep, this. So, it's a little crowded in here. I managed to get the boat in here about a week or so ago. And it's tight in here. Not a lot of extra room to work. So I think I've got a solution. Now, a year or so ago, I put the racking back here to sort and organize my stuff. I don't mind the racking back here at all. Actually, it's quite helpful. But it also takes up 4 foot of depth in the garage. And if I want to bring my bigger boats in here to work on in the wintertime, pretty much can't do that. And this limits my boat work to an outdoor activity, and currently it's 27 degrees outside. My new mini split we installed is keeping it at a 60.5 degrees in the shop, plenty comfortable for working in here. And when you're working with resins or glues and other stuff like that and adhesives, this temperature is much more conducive to that than 27 degrees, and it's only going to get colder from here. Today is Thanksgiving, so if you're watching this video, you're probably seeing it about a week after Thanksgiving. And hopefully, I can show you some excellent progress on what we're going to do here. Now, as far as the shop goes back here, let's sneak back around the corner here. The racking I like. The top shelf storage I like. I need that. It just offers a lot of storage space. And I can actually walk underneath this without hitting my head on that beam right there. So, what do I do next? Well, I'd like to keep this racking in here, except I don't want this middle post. This middle post is a problem, especially when it comes to backing in things that middle post won't let me get close to the wall. All these engines I've got in here on the floor are yet a problem. I'm going to figure out a better way to store that, cover them, and store them not inside my shop. They don't have to be climate controlled. They just need to be, let's call it winterized and pickled, I think is a word people have used in the past. But make sure everything's got oil on it so it doesn't rust. And then we can store it in a non-climate controlled sheltered area. With that being said, my goal here is to get a lot of this stuff to be not in here. And obviously the stuff that can't afford freezing or the cold weather will be top shelf items, let's call it. And then the rest of this shelving I can use in another location on the property here. And I'm going to take these beams here. Now, before people crucify me for this, or keyboard warrior, before you get crazy with the keystrokes on me, I can weld, I can do several things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the ends off of 2 of these beams, and I'm going to butt them together in such a way that they'll have strength. Yes, they will not be for their original weighted capacity, but I have less than 200 pounds across this whole top shelf. I think I'll be okay. So, settle down. But we make that one modification to this, and then we can open up this whole back wall. I've got my lathe here that I've been wanting to get to and have a spot for it. Nice spot for it underneath there in the back wall for making some bushings, shafts, whatever I need to make. And then the other thing that's been crowded in here, that's not giving me access to this workbench here, is this weld bench. And it's currently a catch-all bench for the current project I'm working on Michael's Backyard Marina. If you haven't checked that channel out, check it out. And but anyway, we got a lot to do. Let's go outside and get started. Showing you what I got to do next. I think I left Lucy outside. Ooh, don't tell Mom. I mean the boss. Lucy! There she is. Come on, Luce. Let's go this way. All right. It's the breeze, the wind's hitting me right in the face, which is perfect for my task I want to do today, because what I'm going to do is not have it in my face. As you can see here, it's cold enough that the puddles have frozen. And This is going to work out great because this freeze and thaw and all this fun stuff is going to make this dirt out here more packed. As you can see here, when I drug my tracker out of here, it left some ruts about 4 inches or so deep. That's okay, we can smooth that back out. So the goal today is to be able to clean this particular stall out. Man, it's cold. And get right here, no breeze. This is gonna make it tolerable. So the plan is to get this old sink top out of here, this racking out of here. I've got a bunch of scrap. I was gonna try to salvage most of it type of tubing, and some of it I will. We'll make 2 separate piles for that stuff. The scrap versus the tubing I can use. And then we will get this rack out of here because it's not doing me any good. It's one of those racks that it's 5 foot by 10 foot, but you got to have the OSB or a piece of wood on top in order to be able to use it. Well, that's just not useful for me. So what I'm going to do is pull this shelf out. We're going to put more pallet racking in here of the 4 foot deep by 8 foot wide variety, and I'm going to go double wide. And what I mean by double wide is I want to come this way. As you can see, Blue Thunder gets all the way underneath this building, and I'm not even touching this racking yet. If I make it a foot narrower, I can get the truck in a little deeper, and I can also have racking come all the way down 8 foot, which will probably hit about where this outboard is here, which means I will have to relocate a handful of outboards and probably put me some more outboard storage along another wall. Okay, well, that seems like a lot of effort, and there ain't nothing in the doing it but to get to doing it. So first things first, I'm going to go grab, already ripped my coat, caught it on something, ripped it. Well, this is definitely a work coat now, a shop coat, and all that fun stuff. So I can't move the truck currently. I got to work around the truck because the truck starter is out and I need to get on putting a new starter in it. I'm just not there yet. And I want to get some space out here because my goal ultimately in this spot here is to have more storage out here and then be able to put a boat into this stall. So I can get one more boat from out of the yard into a bay and a little, let's call it better protected. Alrighty. It's kind of nice that it's cold. From the perspective, there is no more mud. It's pavement at this point. These ridges here are now no longer soft. Let's see if I can walk across this part. Yeah. It firmed right up, it did. All right. Well, I don't have to worry about tracking any mud today. That's good. All right. Lots to do, lots to do. Oh. I'm going to have to keep my hands warm today. So I'm going to grab a couple tools, throw them in the back of the utility trailer behind the lawnmower so I can use that lawnmower for my back and forth and hauling and moving stuff around. So I'm going to fire that up and get it warmed up since it's so cold. And the lawnmower's a summer vehicle, but the engine will be fine and the oil will be fine once I get some temperature back in it. All right, let's fire this beast up. A little bit of choke, tiny bit of throttle. Let's see what she's got. Whoa, it just stopped. Uh-oh. Didn't know I was having a battery there. The old battery's starting to show its age a little bit. Well, it's cold out here. I got my gloves on, folks. I got my hood up. give you an idea. I usually can tolerate cold, but this first breath of cold, got to get acclimated. So what I did, I brought my old burn barrel down here, and this is the logs, and this ain't all of them, this is about half of it, of what I cut up with the old Harbor Freight chainsaw. So we got a nice rip roarer going here so that I can come out here, because this is the area we're working in. So I can come right out here and warm my hands up, you know, and keep the whole frostbite at bay, so to speak. But let's start dragging some stuff out of here. I've got the trailer behind the Hustler, so I can make some trips back and forth up to the shop and back if I need to, and haul stuff and just make quick work of things. So I'm going to put you guys on some time lapse and see if I can get this. I got to get this cleared out back to that rack so I can actually start taking apart that rack. All right, first step is we got all that rusty tubing cut up. I got one more long piece here that I'm gonna leave long. This Hercules brushless saw with a 5 amp hour battery, actually there was 2 batteries. This was almost on this last battery, but look at these teeth here. It's pretty much non-existent. But you guys think, wow, I wasted a blade. Well, you know, that rust and the dirt on that, it's like a chainsaw. You dip the tip in the dirt and your edge goes away. We peeled teeth off of that thing big time, right? But I got this nice little stack of tubing here now. A couple pieces over here next to the ladder. And that one over there. Then I got all this scrap that's going to go to the scrap. That's no good to me. But I got me some tubing now I can work with. And some people might think that's just all rusty tubing. You can make stuff out of it. I'll make stuff out of it. I already got something in my head that I want to make out of some of it. Not all of it, but some of it. But now I've actually got it so I can walk in here. Yeah. So next thing we're going to do is get this piece out of here, the sink, get all this stuff drug out so I got my hallway clear. Then I can back the tractor in here, or the lawnmower in here, and load some of this outboard motor stuff up on to the trailer, get it out of here. We're making headway. Feels good though. I tell you what, it ain't got much warmer out here, but after doing a little work, and I tell you what, having this thing right here, I'm about 4 feet away from it right now. I can feel the heat coming off this barrel. Feels mighty good. And the old fire in there is just it's burning real nice, real nice. That locust is a hot burning, slow burning wood, and so is this walnut. And this walnut's a little green yet, but as you can see, there's no smoke coming off of it. If it was really wet, there'd be a lot of white smoke coming off of it. So that old walnut had been sitting down there for most part of the year. It dried out pretty good. All right, we're gonna get back after it here. I gotta get some more stuff out of here. That's all there is to it. Alrighty folks, I'm back out here the next day. I'll just show you what I did in the lean-to. We're gonna hop on the mower. I got some stones that were underneath the last rack. I'm going with a different approach this go round. So we're gonna get these stones put back away where they belong. I'm gonna pick up some more logs for the burn barrel that are out here that I finished, I gotta finish picking up. We're gonna get after it. The other nice thing about today is it's actually 10 degrees colder. It's like 18 degrees out with 15 to 15 mile an hour winds with up to 27 mile an hour gust. And we just had flurries a little bit ago. So, snow flurries that is. Oh no. Why did that just die? I put a bunch of logs on the fire last night. Still smoldering. Now the goal of this wood isn't to make firewood, this is just to make it gone. Now I could be putting this on my big burn pile. To burn up when I get snow on the ground. But I'm using this to warm myself up in this weather while I'm out here working in the lean-to. Now you can see what I did back here is I took the old bucket and I scraped down the dirt back down to the limestone base that was underneath. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to dig post hole holes here, 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 and here, basically 4 foot by 8 foot, so I can set a pallet rack on top. The post holes are going to be 4x4s put in the ground and secured. Then I'll set the racking on top of that. And then I'll put my tall racking in here so I can take advantage of this height. That's the game plan. We're starting out with a corner post here. We're gonna dig. I'm keeping it away from here, away from this wall a little bit, and so I can go across the back and dodge the other posts like this is the goal. And I also want to bring it so that because this will be backfilled with gravel up to about here, so I want to bring the post up so it's above that height when it's all said and done. So I'm gonna get my first post in, then I'll base everything else off of it. Now that I got my post where I want it, I want to use this. I'm using this stuff. It's called Fast 2K deck post anchor. I don't know if you ever used this before, but it's good. It says always condition material to room temperature 65 to 80 degrees. I've had this in my shop. Before extreme temperature of material will directly impact reaction time. But this stuff is liquid, expandable foam. It's goes from a liquid to water-resistant expanding composite that's strong, easy to use, fast, and helps protect your post from rotting. Exceptional adhesion to post allows for carrying heavy loads, perfect for use on deck, fence posts, and much more. Use year-round, no water, sets post in minutes, water-resistant, does not shrink. This is the stuff, baby. I've used it before, and I'm pretty happy with it. So I'm going to take it over here on my truck bed so I can mix these two together. Basically what you do is you pull this off somehow. This piece here allows the two pieces not to mix. So once I bring these two halves together inside the package, then I have to tear here and pour. And then I got my level here in my pocket. I'll set it here and I'll level the post up. It's already sitting pretty square where I want it. I just need to make sure it's level. And all I'm doing here is just mixing it together, getting it good and thoroughly mixed. It says don't mix for more than about 30 seconds because it will start to react and expand in the bag. And you want to actually pour it in the hole while it's still fairly liquidy. Right now I'm just squeezing each end to make sure I get it back and forth real well. Imagine the cool weather is going to slow down the reaction time, but there again I had it in my shop, so it's at room temperature, so I've kept it cold or warm. There, I'm going to say that's probably good enough. We're going to tear it here. And then we're going to pour it down the hole. And try to pour it evenly around the perimeter of the hole. That doesn't seem like a lot here in this bag, but it grows a lot. So I'm going to kind of wiggle it around in there. Check my post for square and level here. It's starting to expand down in the hole, I can see it. And just when you think it's not working, you can see the foam coming up in the hole there. It's expanding, filling all the gaps, adhering to the post, and we'll lock it in. I use this on my post out behind my lean-to, or my shop on the lean-to back there, to get the post set in place. The other nice thing is you don't have to mess with water or concrete. It's still kind of jelly right there, but it's starting to lock in. You can see it's coming up around the pole real good now. I was kind of worried. But it's coming up all the way around it real nice. They claim one bag will do one 6-inch hole, 36 inches deep with a 4x4 post in it. That's already firming up pretty good. And just like that, that post is pretty firm. Not set up yet, but firm. Now what I've got here is a bunch of salvage racking where I cut the top off racking to make it shorter to fit in here. This is the top half of that. But I don't have a bottom plate. So what I've done, they've cut me some new bottom plates here. So we'll be able to, I'm going to cut these off nice and square so I can affix some new bottom plates on it. The bottom plates are going to support the weight, plus give me a hole to anchor it down to my post. Let's see how straight a cut I can make with the old bandsaw here. Bandsaw requires the battery. All right, folks, we're making progress. I've got my 4 posts in the ground here. That looks like a nuclear cloud there. Might have put a little bit too much foam in that one, but I'll tell you what, these things are, once they're in there, they are solid. As solid as concrete. I've got my yellow racking out on the trailer here. We're gonna see if we can I might have to have the boss help me here. Alrighty, folks, it has been a grind. It is now Saturday morning, early AM. It's like 5:30. Still pitch black outside. Good thing I got my lights working out here for a little while. I got the first course down. This level here is gonna be my engine storage level. So I'm gonna take my next shelf and go up 40 inches from there. So we'll go up to about right. Looks like the next shelf, I need 40 inches worth of gap to set these engines in. So the next shelf is gonna be right here at the bottom, right on this bar. And then we'll go every so often going up so I can put my storage containers on there. I gotta get my gloves back on. It's 14 degrees out this morning. It's chilly. It's the chilliest morning yet. And I've only got a couple hours to work this morning before we go to a family Thanksgiving on Saturday. But I think I can get some of this knocked out. You know, at least get my hour a day in today, if nothing else. So let's get after it. I got the poles, parts over here that I took out of the shop. I'll show you the shop a little bit later. Oh my goodness. The shop is absolutely destroyed right now, but like I always say, it always gets worse before it gets better. All right, we got, some of you might be asking, why did you leave such a gap here? Well, this is gonna be my engine bay. I've got some engines and boards that I'm storing that are on carts. I'm gonna put a piece of wood over this area here, and then I'll be able to bring them in with my fork truck or fork the backhoe and set them on there and roll them into place. And I can put like 4 engines there, get them out of my shop. And these will be engines that I have already winterized and whatnot. And then I got double stack totes for 2 levels. So I can hold a lot of totes on these 2 levels. I thought about putting an upper level, but I was looking at it. I may not be doing that because that upper level on the next side will interfere. This side maybe not. I'll still have to decide. We'll see what kind of, because I could easily get another row of totes way up there for some, let's call it lighter stuff that I can take up there with the ladder. Now keep in mind, we still got another beam here, or upright here, and I'm gonna put it on the other side connected to this one. So I'll actually have it all be tote storage. So this is the easiest bay to access because I'm only gonna have a boat stored in here that I can pull out at any time and access it, or I can go around behind the boat and get stuff from it. I'm dressed, it's cold out folks, 14 degrees this morning. If any of you were worrying about the mini split that I put in a couple weeks ago and how it's holding up, my shop's still like 58, 59 degrees right now. And it's doing a fantastic job of keeping my shop warm at 14 degrees out. I did the thermal gun on the exit and it's still putting out 90-degree air. So the shop is warm and comfortable. So let's get back in there and I'll show you what's going on inside that disaster area. These beams here were beams that I had cut down and made them shorter for in the shop, and so my door would open. I went to put them in out here and realized I was short. I'm like, oh no, did I screw up the post position? Well, I didn't actually. So let me get I dropped something over here. All right, pretty pleased with that so far. The good news is, as I'm cleaning up the shop now, I can start bringing stuff out here and stacking it up. That had to happen first, so I had a place to go with all the, I'll show you. Okay, we're back in the shop here. As you can see, it's wall to wall mess. So my plan is over here, where I've got this current upright that was always there, I'm gonna leave that one there. I'm gonna take these 4 beams, weld them into 2 long beams so I can go from here all the way over near the door and have me a shelf up above that I can walk under. Plus I can stack a whole bunch of totes up there. I've got totes, for instance, like this one here that says paint gun and tractor rim paint. I can't go out into the cold, but spare pieces of wood, teak wood, engine parts, all that type of stuff can go out there in the cold storage and just hang out there. It won't hurt it. So trying to divide and conquer, take the cold stuff out there, the warm stuff in here, and free up a lot of space so I can have my full, almost, this is a 30-foot deep shop. I want to at least get 25 to 26 to 27 feet worth of depth back in here so when I can pull a whole boat in here. Up front here is going to be my lathe will be put together on this bench here. And then my weld bench, which is currently housing everything that goes inside the banana, that's going to go back here in this corner near my welder. So that'd be my weld bench. Excuse me. So there is a method to the madness, and we'll get there. Right now, I would say I'm probably at the halfway point of this project. There's a lot of work out there cleaning out the shop or the shed and then setting up that pallet racking. And some of you might be asking, why was that pallet racking so far off the ground? Well, I'm going to fill in the back there. It's kind of come up about 8 inches of gravel to make it level with the rest of the area. So all that underneath that pallet rack is going to be gravel and then come out flat to the front of the lean-to there. Alrighty, well, it's been over an hour, and I've got to go get ready to go to a Thanksgiving, and hopefully be back later this afternoon, evening, or tomorrow. Tomorrow for sure. I'm hoping tomorrow I can wrap all this up and get back to the banana that I had in here and get to finish wiring up on it. It's currently parked outside with a cover over it until I get the rest of the work done. But sometimes you got to take some projects and do stuff like this in order to be able to keep moving forward with the other projects and have the space to do it. So we'll see ya after a bit. Well, as you can see in the last bit of video, we got the shelves out in the shop. I'm debating where to put the very top shelf on it. It might be good for some stuff that I just want to stow away, like some materials and stuff I may need in the future, but very low use, but also lightweight to put up there type of thing. But the other two shelves are going to be great for the outdoor storage of some of these totes, as we spoke earlier. Now, to get my shop back in order here, which is an absolute disaster right now, I've took my heater down because I want to move that. Now, you guys might ask, why don't you just get rid of that heater? Well, it's going to be a good backup to this, just like the air conditioning over here is a good backup for my Mr. Cool, in case Mr. Cool loses his cool. So far, he has not. It is tolerable in my shop. I got my bibs on because I'm going to be grinding and welding. I don't want to burn my legs up too bad. And but I do have my short sleeve shirt on, and it's comfortable in here. It's currently holding at 59 degrees. That's good enough for me, because once I get to working, it's probably going to be too hot. But what I'm going to do here with this heater is I'm going to take this particular bracket here and I'm going to move it up and over because it's in the way of the top shelf of my rack the way I had it. And I can also gain another 2 or 3 inches of head clearance above the rack if I move that over. And I've got plenty of conduit and stuff there to move it over. Grab a hold of another stud up there, for instance, and lag that into the ceiling, and then it can just hang out there out of my way. Now, some of you are going to be fretting a bit here, but this will be fine. As you guys can see here, these are beams that I had shortened up and re-welded and painted because I wanted to make clearance for my door to open because 8 foot and 8 foot was too wide. So it's a perfect candidate for me to cut these back off again, and I'm gonna butt weld them together so I can make one long beam to put across the whole thing so I can get rid of this middle beam that we had in the middle here that was from side to side. And we'll just have a beam up right here and an up right here and a shelf space up above. And believe you me, it's going to be plenty strong enough. I'm going to take some of this material here, believe it or not, and I'll cut it and I'll drill some holes in here and maybe some right here, maybe some up in here. But I'm going to plug weld it so I'll have a backing plate to plug weld to, and I can also seam weld it. It'll have plenty of strength. Now, is it going to be the standard 5,000 pound capacity per shelf it had before? No. And nor would I put 5,000 pound capacity on it. Now, somebody might be thinking, well, after you're long gone from this earth and somebody else uses it thinking it's a good one. Come on, that's a stretch. That's a stretch. All right, that could happen, but I'm not going to worry about that day because that day is not today. I'm still here, walking upright. And let's just get to grinding. I'm going to use I got some Harbor Freight death wheels. It might be a true name for them. We'll see how they hold up. I'm going to grind this weld off and get these separated, and then I'll have to figure out how to clamp them to my bench end to end so they're straight and true, because the last thing I want is a on my shelf. That'll look dumb. But once I get my first beam I get my first beam done, I can set these uprights back up again, and then I can do the second one, and then I can start putting my wire mesh back up there, and I can start picking some stuff out here, putting it up there, readjusting my catalog, and going from there. So let's get to grinding. There's one strip, that'll work. That'll work, won't it? Just stuff that right in there, clamp it up, weld it. That's gonna square me up and do all kinds of good stuff for me. Alrighty, for my next step, I've got to move my truck out of here so I can work behind it. And the starter's out of it, so I had to use my small pancake compressor. I put a fitting on there to be able to pump that tank up to release the brakes. Cross our fingers the Jeep can do it. I'm pretty confident it can. You guys tell me if the wheels are rolling. I was rolling pretty easy, that's good news. I'm gonna have the boss come out and help me here because I don't want this thing to get rolling and that 13,000 pounds running in the back of my Jeep. At least with the air brakes, I can, when she gets out there certain ways, I can just pop the air brake and stop it. When I say air brake, I mean the park brake, which will pop the air free from the brakes and let her, we don't have a lot of poundages in there, but we got enough to release it, obviously. And the system seems pretty tight, holding the air, I think. We got 90 pounds in there. So I'll just ride on the thing here and also be able to steer a little bit because I'm gonna have to shove it back in here when I'm done. This is gonna give me a lot of room. I gotta move these outboards, dig 2 post holes, get my other rack up. Then we'll fire at Big Mo. You guys watching me? I'm right here. Fire at Big Mo and we'll get some engines out here and get some out drives out here, and the shop will be, I haven't showed you the shop yet. It's looking better already though. Whoa, whoa, whoa. You can't stop. Put tension back on the chain. You're gonna go till you run in between those boats, basically. The blue cover and the green boat. Got it? Go. Keep going. I'm ready to reveal mostly complete. So, as you saw, we welded the beams together. There they are, spanning across the back of the shop. We've got, my weld bench is still covered with stuff that's going back in the banana. I got my lathes tucked over underneath here now. Before I had engines and out drives and the stands for them all back here. It was rather tight. I couldn't walk to the front of the back of the shop without sneaking through areas. Made just enough room to park that banana in here for a little while, and it's coming back in. But now I'll have room to work all the way around. And still have this pile right here that's going to go out into the lean-to once I catalog it and put it out there. I've got some moving blankets stuffed right here for now that I'll be putting in a plastic tote and sticking up there in order to store them. I use them pretty regularly. for laying on the ground. That's the primary use for me is putting them on the ground. Let's walk back out to the lean-to and show you where we're at there. Beautiful morning this morning. It's about 36 degrees. I know that doesn't sound beautiful, but yesterday we had a high of like 55 in December, which is pretty phenomenal and awesome. I got Big Mo out and used the forks on Big Mo. You can see all the tracks of back and forth of moving pallets of stuff. So the pallet forks, I tell you what, the pallet forks are just an amazing thing to have on a compact utility tractor or any kind of tractor. If that was one accessory, if you had to choose between accessories when you're buying some equipment, forks are nice, just because you won't realize how many things you can use them for to pick things up. Blue Thunder got drug out. Now, you guys gonna laugh, the starter is still out on this thing. I haven't made time to work on it, but I haven't really had a need yet. But I put a quick connect on here and a double male end hose on my little pancake compressor. Yeah, it took about 40 minutes to pump up 90 pounds of pressure in the system. Allowed me to release the air brakes so I could actually pull it out of here. So let's let the lights come on here. So here's the progress so far. I was able to get all this stuff was in my shop. The engines, that big crate up there, totes of things that are okay, old tractor parts and stuff that I wanted to hang on to. They were still serviceable, usable stuff in case I get in a bind and need a part. I've got some. My goal is I don't need them. I got my outdrives located on their original carts. I was able to put, a nice thing is put a piece of OSB down on this wire mesh. This they call waterfall type mesh decking, and I can roll wheels on it and stuff. I got all the winterization done on these engines. These engines will come back into the shop. Matter of fact, this guy right here is my beautiful running 6-cylinder that's going to go in Big Blue. And that's the Big Blue boat. If you follow my other channel, Michael's Backyard Marina, you will eventually see activity over there. But yeah, we've got to get Blue Thunder back in here, and then we'll be, but I'm pretty happy. I've got room. I ran out of the waterfall mesh, so this is all the mesh I have. I got room to put, I got to take this beam back here and bring it up just a little taller so it clears this stuff here. And then I can put a shelf and another shelf, and possibly like back here, it's hard to see, but right up there I've got room for another shelf if I wanted to. If I went up higher, there's some room, but I don't know if I need to go that high. For one, it becomes dangerous to put stuff up there, and I can't reach it with a fork truck. At least at this height here, I was able to take the fork, I say fork truck, Big Mo, I could actually just set that up there with the forks. I could drive right in here and set it in here. So, as you guys have known and followed the channel for a while, there's the forks. That fork configuration I put on the bucket, it's my version of quick detach. If quick detach is 10 minutes, I guess that's quick enough. So, well, it's just beautiful out there. There's no wind today, which is awesome. And I got to get busy this morning because I got to meet a guy at 11 o'clock to pick up my new project. Now, that project's not going to happen right away because I have several projects ahead of it. Yeah, oh, I thought that was a deer way over there. It was my dog. But yeah, that's been busting my hump pretty good. Been trying to do all this work and battling I don't know what you want to call severe sinus congestion and stuff, but made it through yesterday, and just going to keep pushing forward. Can't stop moving. I got to get my hour a day in, you know. All right, so I think that's where I'm going to end this video. I hope this gave you guys some inspiration, some ideas of possibly what you could do with your shop area for storage and for maximizing your space. I've always had, I would call, some shop space. I started off in my early 20s, I had just a single stall garage, and I've been working my whole life, and obviously, and grew all the way up to a shop space that actually is, you know, not gigantic. 24 by 30 is not a gigantic shop, but it is enough space to do a lot of things in. I've done a lot of projects in here, and there's a lot of projects to come. I do like the idea of having that space now all the way back to the wall with no middle beam. And these 3 outboards here, this one is going to go on the back of Big Blue as my kicker motor. I've got a fun little project there I did on the Marina Channel about a year or 2 ago now. We got yet to get that on a boat. And then I got 250 horses here we're playing with. Now, some of you might be, if you watch both channels, you might be wondering, why don't you have as much Michael's Backyard Marina stuff going? Well, I'll be honest with you. That channel falls off hard in the winter time. And it goes from 160,000 views on the channel per month down to less than 30,000 views per month on the channel, which I'm not complaining. Those are still an amazing amount of views. I would love for this channel to get to that point, honestly. And it's getting there slowly but surely. But it's just a steady grind. I keep doing videos, content I hope you folks enjoy, and continue to watch. Give me a thumbs up, you know, subscribe to, and leave comments about anything. It's literally anything helps all those algorithms on the channel. So, but that's why I focus on this channel, Michael in the Backyard, more this time of year and through the winter, because the extra effort put into the Michael's Backyard Marina doesn't pay off right away. Now in the summertime, it's very seasonal because it's boating. And it's there again, I think of boating as being a year-round thing, especially if you live in Texas or Florida or any of the states where it doesn't get below freezing. You think that would be, but I can relate. I'm a fair weather boater myself. I don't like to dress up in winter garb to go fishing, so I totally get it. All right, folks. I hope this brings a good, clean conclusion to... Excuse me, still battling. I got a little more work to do this morning, and then off to the next project. Well, this is gonna give me lots of space to do the next few things I need to do, and I'm excited to get onto those projects as well. But sometimes you gotta just take a pause, reorganize your things a little bit, so you can have greater success moving forward on your next projects. This is Michael saying, if it ain't broke, fix it till it is, and get your hour a day in. And you'll be surprised at what you can accomplish just in an hour a day of focused energy on your projects. So Michael, I'm out.